Well, hello everybody. Well, here I am again. Gary, the Attitude Adjuster, and I'm back down where I was with the tractor, with the John Deere 6310, with the stick rake on it, tearing out all those sticks out of that steep area. You know, that's why it was slipping. I don't know how that will show on camera. It's probably about 20 odd degrees, maybe more. Yeah, and I was sinking it over that edge. Like it's a 2 to 3 foot drop down there, and I was sinking it over that edge and bringing it straight back through that 2 to 3 feet. So it was a massive amount that I was asking of it. But this is, I'll introduce you. This is my Toro 6000. Yeah, she's a commercial grade zero turn mower, so she's not a pussy. Very serious piece of gear in cutting grass. In fact, I've cut a lot of grass that, you know, would be stuff that you wouldn't imagine this type of equipment working on. But you know, one of the things that that is really important to remember about cutting the grass is that so many of us spend all day, all weekend, every weekend out there cutting grass, you know. And when you look at it, if I said to you, well, this is a $20,000 mower, roughly, you know, with the tractors, you know, I had, what I have, near 80 grand tied up in that other one, you know, by the time you work out the slasher and the tractor and everything else involved, you know, to cut the grass. Now, that's all well and good because my wife is pretty understanding, and I would go out and cut mow other people's lawns and you know, slash their properties, brush hog, whatever you want to call it. But I tell you something, you see a lot of stuff getting around the YouTube and the internet from people who don't know what they're doing and don't know what equipment they're running, or the capabilities of the equipment. Now, it's a bit snotty thing to say, but this particular mower will cut the grass on slopes that you wouldn't believe. It'll make your eyes water. Now, I shouldn't be out here in real terms this fresh after the rain. It's still a bit slick, still a little bit slippery. But this mower is unbelievable what you can achieve. The biggest problem that people get into with zero-turn mowers is that they lock up an axle, right, to try and turn, and the zero turn just takes off and skates on them. This is in this one here. I haven't driven all the other littler ones, but in this equipment here. But from the old days of driving skid steers, a lot of times with skid steers, which is the same type of drive system, if you did that in wet, slippery conditions, you can lock up a side of a machine and just go spinning around in circles and skating all over the place. In the right sort of terrain. Thing with them is that you've got to actually, if you want to change direction, go a different direction, or you'd come down the hill and you need to go back, sometimes before you can make your turn, you've actually got to bump them. And I actually bump them. I bump both sticks, and I might bump them twice, 2 or 3 times, just to feel the traction. And then once I get the traction on both, then I scoot back a little bit, and then I give it to it and flick it around and go the direction I want. But it's that difference in engaging both drives for a short time before then you want to put on your turn drive. I can operate this gear in places that would make your eyes water, operate it safely, and I'll eat everybody's lunch with it. You know, like, I mean, it is unbelievable, the slopes and the areas that you can run this equipment, that I wouldn't run tractors, honestly. And the reason why, it's because your ass is so close to the ground in these things. You know, there are limitations, and the limitations to everything. You shouldn't be out in damper, wetter conditions. Of course, you only got the 2-wheel drive, and the casters on the front mean that they'll turn in direction without limitation. So once you lose that drive on one side, you can spin them around, and you know, look, anybody can roll something over if they were doing something foolish enough. But once you get to that point of being really one with these piece of equipment, They are just incredible what they will do, and the grass they will cut. You know, we have grass that's 6 foot tall as this roof and solid, and this thing will eat it up and spit it out. And I've had people, you know, give us jobs where they've had hustlers and other things in there with nearly double the horsepower on the unit that they were talking about, and they wouldn't look at the stuff that this thing cut it and just spat it out. Now we get back to saying, well, you know, warranty or other issues. It's a $20,000 mower. It cuts grass like you wouldn't believe, and it performs, you know, on a level that's just incredible. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a disposable item that you get 5 years out of it. Okay, you sell it on, or you retire it and you buy another one. When you look at it from that other point of view that I was getting at, lots of us have 40, 50, 60 grand tied up in the gear that we mow the grass with. Now, fortunately, and I'm including the tractor in that, okay, not the mower as in the slasher or the attachment, okay. Fortunately, we're using that equipment for other jobs at the same time, but the principles are still important, and they are still the same, that you can't be out there, as a lot of men are in families, and ladies are doing it too, that all weekend all you're doing is mowing. You know, when you upsize your equipment and like this, you can get around, you know, places and mow a couple of acres in, you know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and you're finished, you know, and more. You know, like if you want to, if your grass is kept down, like this is, I'm mowing paddocks. That's, you know, so that's why I say to you, you know, if I get 5 years out of this mower, and I can guarantee you I will get tons more out of it than that, but it's a what's name that you have to consider and you think about, and you go, you know what, better than spending all weekend out there mowing and doing that work, I can spend that money, get that done, do some jobs for some other people, pick up my money for my payments, and, you know, the gear is brilliant. You know, this thing is just incredible, the work it's already done, and it's only got 34 hours on it. But just, you know, you see them for sale, just like the John Deere. You see them for sale and they got huge amounts of hours on them. And people are still buying them second-hand from commercial mowing operations, which really does make me feel a little bit uncomfortable about that. They've already flogged them to death with incredible amounts of hours on them. You know, put the thing in the bin, or, you know, but then a lot of those people are still buying them at half their cost. You know, like, geez, if it's done 5 years worth of hard commercial slog, and it's earned its what's the name, let it go. You know, don't you know, don't get that greedy that, you know, you're trying to get somebody else, you know, and rip them off. Because some of it's past its time, but you know, because I'm asking it to mow proper paddocks, you know, proper horse paddocks. There's nothing flash or smooth about these paddocks, but you'd be surprised, it's actually quite smooth. I'm quite impressed. The only thing better than this is the John Deere. Everything else bounced around like mad and was uncomfortable, unsafe, and, you know, all that sort of stuff. This is incredible, but having your backside so low to the ground makes it so incredibly secure. You can feel where you need to be careful with that traction, and it's only steep sort of changes in direction where you don't have the ground travel that you can get hooked up a little bit, and you do have to tow them. Like, they are too heavy to try and lift around. Even Jolie and I have have been stuck, and not like you think. If you cross a sort of a gully or a thing, you end up with the tail sitting on the ground and going nowhere, and lots of cursing and very unhappy chappies, because you can imagine us two spitting the dummy and stomping around in our Wellington boots. We don't film that, we don't show you that, because it's probably not the prettiest side of those things. And when you towed it out, we are laughing because we had a really tough job, and the grass was as high as this was, but it was a real bugger of a place. It was wet, and it was bloody, had lots of water courses through it. So we got stuck probably about 6 to 8 times in the day. It just was not fun. We were over it by the end of it, but yeah. And we really didn't have, I can't even remember in the end how we were getting it out. Yeah, it was not a lot of fun. I think we might have even been towing it with the little Husqvarna. But you couldn't get the four-wheel drive into this paddock. That's how bad it was. But it, you know, when it performs on that level, equipment is there to be used, and when equipment fails when it's being used and it's really performing a job, you'll never find me complain about it. You know, like, if you expect a lot out of it and it performs, and that's why usually you do expect that much out of it, because it performs to that level, and you go, well, it's a good investment as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not getting anything from Toro putting this together, I can tell you now. But this thing can go straight out to mow pristine grass and do an unbelievable job of that. But what I'm trying to say is that when you get to this sort of work and you need to move quick and you have some very steep terrain in that thing, because I can cut it at most any direction I want, whereas with the tractor it's that steep you can't cut it side on. I'd still rather be in this, and I will eat your lunch, you know. It's just incredible. But they built an amazing piece of kit. Anyway, I'm going to get back to this work because I just stopped in the shade to tell you that, and to I'll just stop off and show you. Oh dear, oh dear. It's a little bit steep to even try and get out of the seat. So that's her, the Z Master 6000 series. 28 horsepower, I think, Kawasaki she's running. I think it is. Yeah, FX921V. Yeah, but I think it's 28 horsepower, I think. It's not on there, but yeah, she is a serious piece of kit. And she gets it done. That's her. Anyway, she's got her little sunshade on. The only thing wrong with it for me is that when I get in under that sunshade, I decapitate myself that many times, smack myself right on the edge of it. You know, and you just don't remember to duck. But anyway, that's her. 5-foot cut on it. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. We'll catch you later. I'm going to get after this work. Bye bye.